Hey, welcome back. I'm going to try not to rant, but I'm kind of in a ranting mood right now. I've been watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and I keep seeing over and over people pitching these ads about predictable results, consistent results, just using a ton of buzzwords that they've been told to use to sell courses, and it's kind of annoying to me right now. And the reason it's annoying is because I've been seeing it in a lot of people I know and associate with, and so I really want to go back to the theme of the last two videos that I've been talking about, which is creating value. We talked about value propositions. We broke down 2 videos ago for the 4 value propositions that you can add. In the last video, we talked about 2 impossible value propositions, but now I just want to talk about value as a whole and kind of what we're seeing like in the world around us right now. So you have to create value, whether it's at your job, whether it's with your investments, whether it's with your own small business or your entrepreneurial endeavors, whatever it is you're doing, you have to be creating value, and you're gonna get compensated for that value. And so there's some conversations that I had recently where people were kind of putting the cart before the horse. They're talking about some people that I've been giving some coaching and some mentorship. We've been talking about making deals happen, but you got to create that value. A lot of times it's intriguing to talk about, well, how do I start my LLC? How do I get my business funded? How do I get a business bank account set up? How do I get my website set up? But first and foremost, you've got to create value. We got to get that first deal under wraps, because if you don't have that first deal done, you're not making any money, you're not creating any value. And so I want to help people focus on, like, when you're talking about real estate, how do we get that first deal? What's our goals for our first deal? If you want to talk about goals a little bit, I got a course down below where I talk about how to set goals for real estate investing. Once we get those goals, how do we get that first deal under contract? Because we want to be able to wrap that deal up, and we want to be able to package it, deliver it to the end consumer, whether that's a flip, whether it's a tenant. We want to be able to deliver it to that consumer who wants that deal in the package that they want, so that way we can start harvesting the value off it. Then we can start worrying about, well, when we get these rents, what bank account are they going to go into? Well, how do we start attracting our next deal? How do we start scaling up with running multiple rental properties? How do we get a better management structure in place? But really, all that stuff you don't even have to worry about until you're delivering value, and then you start needing some of that structure. I didn't have an LLC till I was 5 houses deep, because at that point I started needing the structure to be able to get some commercial insurance products, to get commercial loans, to get some of that stuff. If you want to hear about how I got commercial loans, check out down below. I've got an Amazon book about my experience getting my first portfolio loan, how I wrap up all those houses into one big commercial loan. But I didn't get the LLC until I needed that structure to house the business that was already creating value for people. So we really want to hit on that, like how are you creating value? And that's important too in your job, right? So how do you create more value? Because that's how you're able to pitch for that next raise. That's how you're able to pitch for that next promotion. And even if you are focused on growing your passive income, you need that additional income or that additional autonomy in that next promotion to be able to grow your passive income. You need that additional money, that additional time, so that way you can go ahead and pursue some of the things that you want to do, creating value. So that's the big thing I want to talk about. How do you create value? We need to make sure that we're creating that value right off the bat. When you're thinking about an entrepreneurial endeavor, like really dive in, like, hey, how am I going to dive into this thing and create value? A lot of times the obstacles can seem insurmountable. Well, if I just had some money in the bank, if I just had this loan, if I just had some financing, if I just had some recognition on social media, but you don't need all that stuff. Put the hard work into finding the deal. A lot of times with real estate, people think that you need this financing, but really you just need to find a deal. If you find a legitimately good deal, people are going to flock to you with financing. People are going to flock to you with helping you, get that thing monetized. But finding the deal is the hard work. So whether you're going to try to go out and wholesale some deals to yourself, whether you're going to connect with wholesalers to get those deals to you, either one's going to take a lot of work. In the first case, if you're going to go find that deal yourself, kind of a wholesale strategy, you need to be reaching out to homeowners. You need to be reaching out to those lists that you're able to get and talking to people over and over and over again, reaching out to them with phone, with Facebook messages, text messages, hit them with mailers, whatever you need to do to find those distressed properties so you're able to purchase that first deal. If you don't have time to do that, you still need to be networking prodigiously with wholesalers or flippers in the area, finding every single person that's active in the markets that you're interested in and making sure that you're hitting them up over and over and over again so you're getting your name out there, making sure that they're pitching their deals to you as soon as they come available. Because you're going to need to get that first deal under contract so that way you can start working on it. Well, now that once you get that deal under contract, now you need to figure out how you're going to get that thing from the condition it's in now to tenant ready and get it marketed. Once you do that, you're going to need to create value through that process too. I've got a video on how I use Craigslist laborers because, getting a rough property to rent ready, if you're using contractors, that's going to take a lot of the margin out of your deal. However, if you're able to manage the timelines and manage the workflows for day labor that you get, you can cut a lot of that money out. So in the video I talk about, I did 2 different deals, one back in 2014-ish and one just a few months ago. Very similar properties, very similar initial conditions, but I saved over $30,000 on the second house that I was able to use Craigslist labor rather than contract labor like I had done on the first house. I don't know the exact number, but it was well over $30,000. I would say closer to $40,000 that I saved by managing that labor myself. But that's value that I created that value by going out and finding the labor, by going out and scheduling the labor, by bringing the equipment and the materials to the house and getting that house done. So I'll go ahead and put a card up above to that video on how I use Craigslist labor. I'll put a card up top. So if you want to check that out, you can. But you can see through the whole phase of this deal, there's value creation that has to occur. So, if you made it to the end, that's kind of the end of my rant now. So, if you made it this far, please give me a like. Please subscribe to the channel so that way I can give you some more of my rants in the future. But thumbs up, subscribe, and if you're interested in learning a little bit more about how I set goals, how I got my commercial loans, check out the links to those down below.